Used car prices are falling, Dad. We're going to kick things off with one of our community members who actually saved, is it fair to say they saved nearly $13,500 on a car they wanted to buy.
Go figure.
Simply because they were in tune with market conditions. They waited. Let's start with Andre's story, and then we're going to jump into the latest data from Black Book. How's that sound?
Well, it sounds like you've planned this out.
And if you haven't watched our other videos on why right now is the time to buy a used car because interest rates are going up, car prices are going down, go watch that video. It's a very good video. It helps give you an understanding if you should buy now or wait. Dad.
Yes.
This Audi Q7, when Andres found it back in April.
Yes.
April 19th, it was listed at $51,977. He tracked the price.
Call it $52,000.
He tracked the price from April to October 3rd when he bought the damn thing.
Wow.
He ended up paying, Dad, $38,400. The original asking price as a used vehicle was $52,000, and he ended up paying $38,400. You can just see from the price history, it go down and down and down. Most recently, the lowest advertised price was $39,977, and he negotiated another $1,500 off that.
Wow. Which, ladies and gentlemen, goes to show that if you track the price history of a vehicle, and in this case, we're talking about close to 15% off.
Yeah.
Okay. That if you track the price history and you see that they've lowered the price and you realize that they've had it on their lot for as long as they have, that when you go in, you won't be able to negotiate another 10% off, but you can negotiate a little bit more off. And he did, because he went from $39,977, he got it down another $1,577.
And let me read his email to us. Just purchased a 2018 Audi Q7 Prestige 3.0 Turbo for $38,400. Vehicles on the market for 150 plus days. The highest price was $51,777. Lowest advertised price was $39,977. My final offer was $37,000. They wouldn't come down any lower than $38,400. Look at that, folks.
Yes.
He offered $2,900 less than the most recent advertised price, which is a significant decrease.
Yes.
I mean, that would be like a 6%, 7% off from advertised price.
Yes.
But got him to meet in the middle. Fantastic, $38,400. I accepted that offer and financed $30,000 for 60 months at 4.5%. They install anti-theft on all their cars and wanted to charge me an additional $1,900 accessory fee, but I said I don't want it and told them to either remove it or it can stay on there, but I'm not paying for it. Considering the lowest they would go was already $13,377, lower than the highest price it was listed. I felt comfortable accepting their offer as it was the best idea before someone else did. Ended up getting, and Andres is spot on. This is great news for anyone in the used luxury SUV market. Other markets aren't seeing depreciation like this. We're looking at fully loaded luxury vehicle with a sticker of over $80,000 that is depreciated more than 50%. So let's use that as our segue, Dad.
Okay.
Stamp of approval, by the way.
A segue, isn't that little scooter thing that? Oh, isn't a Segway a little scooter thing that takes your? Oh, that's a different type of Segway. So you're thinking about selling your car? Go to joinyaa.com/sell and just enter the information once and get all the offers in one place. It's just that simple.
Dad, let's look at the weekly market update from Black Book. We saw another decline, not as significant, about 3/4 of a point week over week wholesale price decline in the used car market. We had done 9 weeks in a row of nearly 9/10 of a point decline. So this is still a huge decline week over week, but not as significant as we had seen in prior weeks. And when we break it down by segment of vehicle, this is where Andres is spot on. Not all vehicles are depreciating the same way. This most recent week, Dad, mid-sized cars, prestige luxury cars, sporty cars, taking most of the depreciation, and then amongst SUVs, trucks, and vans, subcompact luxury crossovers down 1 1/3 points. Compact luxury crossovers down 1.2%. So still some real big decliners in the used car market.
Full-size luxury crossovers down a little over half a point.
Yep.
If I'm looking correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what he got, was a full-size luxury crossover. And a hell of a nice vehicle, by the way, in the prestige trim.
So what are your thoughts on what's going on in the wholesale market, and what'd you make of the Black Book data?
Well, obviously, the wholesale prices are continuing to drop. at a higher level than we have normally seen this time of year, historically speaking.
Yep.
So the wholesale drop started probably, I want to say, about 16, 17 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been over 4 months.
Okay. Now, the drops back in the beginning of that were much smaller, but they were weekly declines. Week over week, we would see 1/4 of a point, 4/10 of a point. And then for the previous 9 weeks, we've seen close to a point a week. And this time it's a little over 3/4 of a point. But that indicates to me that in certain subsets of the used car market, wholesale values have probably declined over the last 4 months, 12, 13, 14%. That is a significant decline. Is it as large a decline as the increase we had seen a year ago where wholesale prices went up 50%? No. Is it reasonable to expect the declines to be closer to a 50%? Probably not,
No.
because there's still a shortage of cars, both new and used. But the fact that we have seen wholesale values decline as much as they have over the last 4 months, that is a positive for consumers.
Another positive, Dad, used retail inventory up 12%.
From the beginning of the year.
Black Book tracks, and we have it obviously on the join YAA.com website. You can see how many vehicles are for sale nationwide. It's 12% higher right now than it was at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
These are indicators of buyers markets, not sellers markets. Let's read the wholesale update from the auction this past week. Given the circumstances of Hurricane Ian making landfall last week and some auction locations temporarily closing, the overall sales rates were lower than prior weeks. The sales rate was all the way down at 56%.
Yes.
Buyer count was still strong and there were competitive bids, but the sellers were still holding onto their floors in hopes that the market will move into positive territory. With inventory being down last week, this might be why sellers are holding tight to their floors because of the law of supply and demand. Large independent dealers and small franchise dealers dominated the lanes last week and were aggressive in casting their bids, going back and forth. Conditions of vehicles were not as great as we have seen in the past, and we can hypothesize that conditions might stay the same or get worse as we anticipate seeing some flood vehicles running through the lanes as an effect of the hurricane. The price of gas has been decreasing since the beginning of July, and it took a turn last week and increased 6 cents. Diesel decreased 7 cents and has been decreasing in small increments since the beginning of September. Overall, we had a week of decreases for used car prices.
Yes.
That is concerning that the quality of vehicles are getting worse at the auctions. And I've talked to dealer principals, Dad.
Yes.
Some folks that I've talked to recently. They are fed up at the auctions.
Yeah.
Fed up with the quality reports that they're getting.
The condition reports.
Yeah, the condition. I mean, there's a lot of consternation on the dealer side right now with how crappy the vehicles are that are making it across the lane. And we had a video that just went out talking about what to watch for in flood vehicles. Go watch that.
Yes.
And dealers, go watch that too. Like, there's about to be even worse inventory, unfortunately, making it across the lane. That's concerning.
It is. And so consumers out there are going to have to pay a tad bit more attention to what it is that they're looking at, what it is they're considering buying. And nothing helps more at this particular moment in time than a pre-purchase inspection on any pre-owned car or truck. I don't care how good it looks to you with your untrained eye. You need to get an independent mechanic in there to take a look at the vehicle and take a deep dive into the vehicle to see if there are any issues that you wouldn't necessarily notice with your look.
Join YAA.com/inspection. We'll get you a discount with our partner Lemon Squad. They've got a great service to actually go and do pre-purchase inspections for vehicles, even if you're out of state or something like that. I will also encourage people to review our out-of-state car buying guide, because you're probably going to be looking at some vehicles that you're thinking about buying in a different state. You've talked about this in our flood car vehicle. A lot of these vehicles that did get flooded are ultimately not going to be for sale in Florida. They're going to be sent out to Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
So be concerned. Review that guide. All right, Pops. Thanks for your time as always.
It's my pleasure, honey.